welcome to this extremely special show of Heads Up. Now, the CEO of Microsoft, Mr. Satya Nadella, is visiting India, and he spoke to over 1 lakh students via satellite and some here in Delhi. He's been visiting India and talking a lot about the different initiatives, platforms and tools that Microsoft creates to help many young entrepreneurs and young business leaders. Here is an excerpt from Mr. Nadella's speech.
I mean, it's just such a privilege to be here. It's a humbling experience. This morning, I landed in Delhi, and then I was driving up, and we passed a place which I grew up in. I mean, we passed Vignan Bhavan, and I grew up exactly opposite that in middle school. And I remembered this one lecture that I attended in Vignan Bhavan, maybe in the mid-70s, I would say, or late 70s. It was given by Subramaniam Chandrasekhar, who went on to win the Nobel Prize in Physics. At that time, he was just, I mean, when I went and saw that, and I just somehow I recalled what an inspiration that speech was. In fact, that's perhaps the first time I heard about the University of Chicago. Little did I know the cold that I would be faced with much later in life. But it was an inspiration. And I said, God, I'm going to be here today talking to the youth of India. Fantastic opportunity. And then it dawned on me that, oh my God, I don't have a Nobel Prize for sure. What am I going to do? And then all the nervousness set in. It's like, how exactly am I going to start this? So believe me you that this is perhaps the most nervous speech I'm going to give on this trip because it's just fantastic to be talking to the youth of this country. The energy is palpable. The optimism is palpable. The confidence is here to be seen. And even the day and a half that I've had the chance to meet many people in India broadly, I've been able to get that sense. And in terms of the opportunity in front of you, it is just tremendous. I don't think ever in our history we've had this kind of opportunity that you're going to have as you graduate, as you prepare. As you prepare to make a dent in the universe, as you prepare to really change the world, the opportunity in front of you is unparalleled. It really comes down to the ingenuity of the human capital in this country in terms of what it is that you're going to do and shape and change. The other thing that strikes me is, perhaps more so than ever before, most of the opportunity and change gets created by people with very diverse set of backgrounds coming together to innovate. When I think about our business, it's no longer just one field of engineering or one specific focus on just STEM education. But perhaps more so than ever now, it's people coming from the design sensibility, people coming from engineering backgrounds, people coming from economics and business. Because if you look at even what's happening today in India, look at the business model innovation, look at the designs that are made for this country, and at the same time, the engineering skills. It's that coming together, that multidisciplinary approach to innovation, which is what I believe all of you represent, is perhaps going to shape and change what you will do and what you will create. We definitely and clearly are going through a massive technological shift. I describe it as this mobile-first, cloud-first world. It's this very rich canvas for innovation. It's this canvas that talks about the mobility of the person, the human being. It's not really about the device that's mobile. It is you who is mobile. You get up in the morning, you have access to the information. You go to your college, you have access to a different device with more information. You then come back home, you're reminded of what you have to sort of get done. It's that continuous mobility and the ability for all of the compute power around you to help power the rich experiences. That's the mobile-first world that we live in. And this mobility comes about because of the rich cloud infrastructure. And in particular, the ability of this infrastructure to reason over the information, the data. In fact, the way I describe it is that every device, every experience creates this exhaust of data, and the cloud and the power in the cloud can convert that into the fuel and the intelligence that powers every one of your experiences. That's the mobile-first, cloud-first experience. That's the mobile-first, cloud-first world that we live in. And we at Microsoft are excited about creating the platforms and the productivity tools that we want to make ubiquitous so that you can take advantage of that to truly capitalize on this world. That's what we get a kick out of. That's what we believe is our job. In fact, every time we have approached anything, we've approached it with that sensibility that we want to create the broadest, deepest platform for others to build, others to create, others to make. That's what we are at the core. In fact, when Bill and Paul Allen started the company 39 years ago, we started out as a basic tool. That's how Bill wrote the basic interpreter, and that's how the journey got started. That's at the root of this company. And that's how we always come back to that core. How can we create platforms? How can we be the tools provider so that others can realize their full potential? That's what's really inspired us. And today we have some amazing capabilities. And this morning we even launched our commercial services in data centers in India. It just creates, in fact, another level of playing field. It just creates world-class cloud infrastructure that you can take advantage of to fuel your imagination. Now, the thing that perhaps more than anything else that will shape your own destiny is the approach, the mental attitude that you will take as you pursue your journey. I would say it's too early for me to be very reflective, because after all, I'm just getting started on my own new journey. But I did think that it's probably appropriate for me to at least share with you what I think can be some principles that you could use, maybe some hints that you could use as you approach both the opportunities and the challenges that you're going to be faced with. The first is the energy that you create is perhaps going to be around you, is perhaps going to be the most important attribute you will bring to others. In fact, one of the things that I've always asked and debated myself, is it IQ or is it EQ? I do believe in the long run, EQ does trump IQ. Because without the ability to be a source of energy for others, very little can be accomplished. And anytime I've had the opportunity to learn from that and reflect it in the way I've approached things, I felt that I was able to get to better results. The other piece, I would say, which perhaps most shaped me in my journey, was this constant quest to learn. And every opportunity I got, I took it as a learning experience. In fact, what has been one of my biggest privileges in the last 7 months was to meet so many distinguished people across different walks of life and get all kinds of advice. And believe me, CEOs are great at giving advice. And talking to them, you learn a lot. And being able to constantly pursue that and push yourself to have your antennas up. In fact, the way I have derived energy is by sort of trying to listen to who is setting some standards. And you can see it, quite frankly. Every day somebody's got some idea or some way to do something which sets a new standard, a new bar for you to get inspired by. And lastly, perhaps most important of all, is you have to fall in love with what you do. Because everything else then simply becomes easy. If you just are so passionate about what you do, one, it doesn't feel like work for sure. And more importantly, it is perhaps the best way to find meaning in what you do. And I was just thinking about sort of what's the best way to capture it. And I remember reading this Gandhi quote, which I think is the most appropriate way to capture it. He said something along the lines of saying that live every day as if it's your last day, but learn as if you're going to live forever. And I believe that it captures the essence of how I think the youth in this country can face the future and the opportunity ahead. Thank you so very, very much. It was such a privilege.
We're with some students who had the privilege of listening to Mr. Nadella's speech. How was it? What was it like to hear him talk? Someone who's born, bred, studied in India, and now is the CEO. What was it like?
It was an amazing experience just to be a part of this. It's amazing, you know, like how he spoke about learning. Learning is a continuous process, you know. There's no end to learning. Like how he said, his father always told him, there's no last exam in life. You know, you always have to keep innovating, keep thinking about the future. And there's one more thing that he mentioned.
Yeah, he told us about IQ and EQ. Like, there are two things, intelligent question and energy question. Like, after some time, he managed to understand that EQ is more important than IQ to reach somewhere in life. You need to have that energy to always keep on going ahead and learn something new. Yeah. And so that is what inspired us, and it was a really great experience to listen to him and to know that he's from our country and he has grown to such a level. Yeah. So it was really great.
It's an inspiration for us, you know, ki how, you know, from small beginnings, how you can reach the world. It's for us at this age, you know, at this peak of our career, it's an inspiration to be a part and to hear him speak. It was an amazing experience.
Absolutely, and he was talking a lot about, you know, how this youth of India has a lot of opportunities and possibilities ahead of them. As sort of like the world is at your feet. What exactly does that mean? Because he can say it, but what do you actually feel? Do you feel that you have a lot of opportunities and possibilities ahead of you?
As students are the future for tomorrow, and we are building the IT sector for tomorrow, and if we don't take a stand right now, then, you know, we as a country, we won't be technically, you know, forward. We would be always behind. We would be as a developing country, not as a developed country.
We are provided with various resources, Dream Spark, App Labs and all. They help us to build, to innovate, and that leads us to a better place.
Yeah. What is, you guys been talking about all these Microsoft initiatives. What is a Microsoft student partner? What sort of work do you do, and what are some other programs that Microsoft has that help students and entrepreneurs?
So basically, Microsoft has an event like Imagine Cup that helps a student to like come up with the talent, new talents in the country, and show our talent in an international level.
So Microsoft has a lot of initiatives that help the youth in terms of creating, ideating, collaborating. What do you think are some other ideas that perhaps other companies or other organizations can also do to help students and entrepreneurs?
See, if I talk about a vision, so after coming in 10 years, I think that the companies are limited. So therefore the jobs are also limited, but the number of engineers or other graduates are increasing day by day. So what we need, the answer to this question is simply one word answer, that is the startups. Companies need to come ahead and provide the students with the opportunities to come up with some unique and innovative ideas so that they can establish start their own startups, like a company which is having a promising future, so that those students can create job for new students also, so that So now what we need to do, we need to, rather than becoming a job seeker, we need to become a job creator with some startups. So that is where the future lies.
We're going to slip into a short break, but don't go away. We have lots more on the other side.